Hi everyone and welcome to Game Club. And today, are you ready to make big money? Well, we are, and hopefully, playing the stock exchange, we will make zillions of bucks. Join us as we play big money. Right, so now for the big unboxing of big money. Start with saying that the box is pretty simplistic, quite nice. I like the green, the money basically, it looks quite good. The font obviously used here is quite, I guess it kind of plays into the game being a little bit more fun than it is more serious money making venture. Let's take that. So then we've got our instruction booklet, which I have already pre-read. The setup's pretty easy. All explained, I would say that it's explained in a way that's very linear, but I just feel like it doesn't really do much because there's not really a lot to learn. The biz news stuff is probably the most important stuff to learn, but to be fair, it's kind of brushed over here, but you don't really need to know that much because the cards already detail it. Then you've got your end game and your basic types of rolls, and that's well worth keeping by your side. Then you've got your board, and obviously this is Ravensburger game, so they've got a very nice board as well, pretty solid. You've got your spaces allotted there, which is great. Then you've got your dice holder. I've put these into packets already. You've got your actual cards, and then you've got your cash. Look at that, wad of cash there. It's all pretty good, pretty sort of well structured. Now, I guess it's just our chance to play it and then review big money. So this is the setup for big money. I've got the booklet here just because I want to show you something from it in just a second. But in front of me, what I start by doing is taking these asset cards. I call them commerce cards, but they are actually asset cards. Shuffle, and then I place 4 on the board here. I do not take the starter cards and put them there. Instead, each player will start with one of these and they take one. I've already taken 2, so I've taken the food truck and the video game studio for my 2 players. I'm just going to go through one round to show you, that way then you'll kind of understand how the game works. Then you shuffle your biz cards and place them here as well. You give your dice to your youngest player. You make sure your money, the 1 zillion, 5 zillion and 10 zillion is in close proximity, but is nearby. And when that runs out, the game ends, don't forget. And what you effectively do is this. You then will roll your dice, and I'm just going to turn this upside down here. So that makes it a bit more easy so we can actually see. So I've got a pair, I've got 1, 2 and 6. Now you can up to 2 times re-roll the number dice. What that means is, as far as we've done it, and the game does, it's phrased as re-roll number dice. We don't choose to hold on to the dice, we just roll all the dice, and I'll do the next turn like that. But at the moment what we've got here is a pair, so I'll take that as a pair. So it's a pair which is worth 5Z. Now if I'd rolled, as you can see I've rolled the entertainment, and there is an entertainment icon on the board, but unfortunately I don't have it, but that would get me 5 zillion if I did take it. But however, I've got my 5 zillion here, so if you ever roll your symbol, if I roll for instance a food one, which is just there, and I've got food on the truck there, as you can probably just about see, my finger's just in the way, apologies. That means you collect on that, but you also have to then discard that. So effectively it then goes out of the game if you collect on it. If you have more than one, you end up getting a bonus on top of that as well. So more than one from the same industry, you get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 asset bonus, and obviously that can be incredibly helpful long term as well. Now as you can see, I've taken my pair, I've got my 5, and I'm just going to now take these dice and it will switch to the next person. Now I can, if I wanted to, I could buy an asset. You're allowed to buy 1 asset here. And in fact, you know what, I will do that. I'm going to put 5 there, and I'm going to buy the Opera House because I like opera. I then will take another card from here, turn that over, a major movie studio. I probably would have preferred that, but anyway, it's too late now. And effectively, that means you pay the amount that's up here, so the 15 zillion, 5 zillion and 5 zillion there. The objective is that obviously you will only get back the 15 zillion from this, but what you're effectively doing is if you get 5 or 6 of that industry, you can make a nice healthy tidy profit on that, which is always good. But anyway, the objective is to try and get as big a profit as possible to beat your opponent. Now I'm going to go to the video game guy here, and he's going to roll, and he gets 2 4s, a 5, a 1 and a 2, but he does get the food one. So what effectively happens is, now you can't re-roll this dice, so effectively my guy here will get 5 zillion but have to discard that one to the startup pile, so I get another 5 zillion, which is lovely jubbly. And what happens is that you then go forward. So don't forget, with this dice here, all players will collect on the industry die. Whatever industry die is rolled, if they've got it, they can collect on it. And then I'll roll the number dice again. Oh, and as you can see, I've lucked out there, so I've got 2 5s and 2 3s, so I'll stick with that. Now what happens is, you look here, and as you can see it does say here, for instance, that it's sort of worked out verbally, but what I would recommend personally is to go to this types of roll in the back of the booklet, because it's far easier. It's got 2 pairs, you've got 3 of a kind, so you can, and I effectively run it like this, that I've got 3 of a kind of the same number and then a pair. So I take the bonus for the pair, which is 5, and 3 of a kind, which is 9. And that is perfectly acceptable. Then I can buy something on here as well. And just to note, before I round up this, the turn is well illustrated here. I mean, it's not complex, but this on your turn is very useful and pretty well laid out. I think that the detail and the rest of the guide can be slightly superfluous, but this is very good indeed. Now that is the game for one round. I won't play anymore, but thank you for watching. I will now do my review. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, Big Money split the board, both in good ways and negative ways. Some people found it to be too repetitive, and that way it became kind of irksome to roll, collect, buy, roll, collect, buy. Others, like myself, enjoyed it because there is a level of a kind of strategy to it. I didn't find it monotonous, as one of the players suggested, but I found it to be slightly more insightful, because what you're playing is, you're playing a longer term game, but you're also playing a game where effectively it is monopolizing on a particular industry, and that can be quite fun. It's not up there with games like Monopoly, for instance, in family playability, but it is certainly up there in games that are more smaller focused family. So that's games where you're basically have a singular goal. The role aspect of it I actually really enjoyed, because it gave each round a completely, and that's each player's round, a completely distinct and different objective each time. Sometimes that could be really beneficial, sometimes it could be really irritating, but it overall played as if each round was different and would make me want to come back. The 2 points I would say I disagree with is that I think that the ages 8 and up, I think the game can be played by younger people, although I think that they would probably find it hard to get a lot of enjoyment out of it. The 2 to 5 players, I think 4 players maximum, I think 5 players would not be able to play it, they'd find it slightly irritating. Although I would actually recommend 4 teams if you could, if you've got lots of people, because this game plays well as a team game. And then finally, the role situation needs to be better defined in Big Money. It's not as well defined as it should be, because there was some confusion when people, for instance, as you saw when we played, that we roll a triple and a double. Do we collect on both? And I do collect on both, although I've seen online people complain that you should only collect on one or other. So obviously people will go for the higher option but be annoyed that they've ended up losing out. So yeah, that's something I would probably recommend Ravensburger sort of play with. Bar that, the game is very good. I know it's not done as well as it should have done this Christmas, but that's because of the pandemic. And anyway, I just think that if you really like Big Money and you like making money in a more safe environment, this is a game for you.